We're up at what we call the Floyd Coon Farm. This is the farm that I grew up on. Sydney now lives on the farmhouse in this, my daughter who bought the farm. It's a preserve farm. It's in ag land preservation, so it'll stay in agriculture forever. There's about 90 acres up here. Some of it is pretty steep, but it is beautiful fruit country. We have a great view. You can probably see behind me one of the higher points in our farm here. A lot of elevation difference. Way down there at the bottom next to the woods you can see a pond. That's our water source, and there is tubing up here to the fruit that we're growing. But below us is the Gettysburg Shale Formation. It's a big valley. It goes about 30 miles. You'll see the mountains way down there with Pigeon Hills. And if you look off to your right, those humps over there actually are Big and Little Round Top on the Gettysburg battlefield. Behind us back here, behind the grapes, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is the grapes. This over here is what we call Rife's Hill. It's pretty steep, and it runs east-west and runs into Green Ridge back there, which is the last ridge on the Blue Ridge Mountains. So Blue Ridge, that soil is good for fruit the whole way up from Virginia or Tennessee. Has created good soil. They're old mountains. These hills have eroded a lot, so up here on top the soil's very thin. Down at the bottom it's very deep. So we wanted to try table grapes. I guess they're planted 3 years ago, maybe 4. It's a new enterprise for us. Our extension was recommending it, and we wanted something in this time frame right now, in this transition from summer fruits to fall fruits like apples. So that's pear season and grape season. So this is our grape planting. That's what we're going to look at today. I'm told that between frost freezes, poor pollination this year, Pennsylvania only has about 15% of a crop. We have a full crop, so I think we have a good site. And they seem to really like this soil here. We've got about a foot or foot and a half of what looks like dust, and then below it's rock. So there is not much deep soil for them to grow in, and I understand that's good for creating sugars, and the grapes seem to love it. We've had enough moisture this year, we never had to pump water up here, which is a problem. That pond I showed you down there is 300 feet below us, and it takes a big pump to put water up here, although we are equipped to do that if we need to. So we're going to move around and look at some of these different grapes. I've been eating some already, and that's what you get the opportunity to do at Farmers Market, is to taste these things. You can learn with me what's your favorite. I don't know yet. I never realized there's this many different varieties. A lot of these I understand came out of an Arkansas breeding program, and we're just learning them ourselves. So let's stop and get down here a little closer and look at some of these. We've labeled these to try to learn these grapes ourselves. You see here it says Catawba. It appears as though they're reddish colored grapes. Not huge bunches, but that's a nice bunch. I guess the little we found is if the bunches get too thick, we have disease problems in them because the air can't flow through there and it lays wet, and you end up getting more fungus type problems. The one behind us here is actually one that I am familiar with because we always had it on the grapevine at home as a kid, is Niagara. Niagara and Concord were the two that we grew when I was a kid, and they make real thick, heavy bunches, really tight. Not a great table grape. I guess both of these are seeded. We have a lot of seedless, but both of these are seeded. And I don't know how well to show up, but let's go behind us, Katie. I don't know where the sign is for the variety. But I see a color here. Beautiful blue grapes. Look at that. Can you see that?
Got it.
God, what a beautiful bunch. I don't know what it is. So maybe we could find a tag and let you know what that one was. We'll go on and try a different spot here. The sign says these are Steuben, and it looks like they make beautiful bunches. I think it was one of them we were cutting today.
I can't see that. There
we go. So look for that at market. Give it a try. You need to sample these things, see which ones you like. Let's see if it's got seeds in or seedless.
It's seeded.
Seasoned. Ooh, great flavor.
Good flavor.
Let's try another one. Good. We have Katie's favorite here, Jupiter, an oblong grape, and she's been eating as we walk down the road, try to figure out what the name of them were.
It's seedless too.
Yeah, it's a seedless one. It's oblong, great flavor and beautiful bunches. These things, and I'm not the one that's doing the culture of these. Steve's been doing. Maybe we should have brought Steve with us.
We should have.
Yeah, we should have. But anyway, he's been cutting them a couple times to let the light in here, so that they'll go ahead and mature properly. And I don't know the culture of these things, but wow, we have grapes. We do have them irrigated. I said about the irrigation. Here's the tubing. Thank goodness we didn't have to use it this year, and I think there's a trick to when you cut the water off so that they make the proper sugars. And while we're here, you look down country below us here. You can see Golden Delicious apples on the trees there. The nights we've been having, I think it was 40 degrees here last night. Warm sunny days, cool nights is what makes great color on apples. And yellow apples, whenever they get that pink blush on them, really sets them off, makes them look great. There's a nice crop on those Goldens, you can see them. And on beyond that is the old barn. Was my grandparents. This farm was on my mother's side of the family. So it was a general farm. They had farm animals, cows and hogs and chickens. And then when I was a kid, we put floors in there, had 3 floors of laying hens, 3,000 chickens in there laying eggs. Now we just use it for storage, but that's where the farmhouse for this farm is. You could probably tell from the lay of the land here, this is steep. It's a hard place to work, but that's where fruit likes to grow, with good air drainage. And below us here is Asian pears. We're trying to grow more of those, store them for spring, especially Olympic, and some of those that store real well, been real successful. Customers have loved them, take them out of storage and sell them in the spring. So that's our, and there's some new varieties in there I don't know anything about. So you always learn as you go, and that's the fun part about growing anything actually, but what I enjoy about fruit. So clear as a bell. Some days you can't even see the barn. Today you can see 30 miles. It's that time of year, and it came early. I had my Carhartt bib overalls on today. I don't think I've ever had them on in summer, and fall's a couple days away yet. So there's speculation that winter's going to, the fall's going to come early, or the first frost. That does affect things. So we hope that it warms up a little bit and doesn't continue this trend. But we got to take it as it comes. Nothing you can do about that. You just roll with the punches. I don't know what else to tell you about this farm, except that this is the pretty spot to come to. It is difficult to work because of the terrain, and it's so hilly. You have to be careful with your equipment that you don't roll things over. But flatland fruit does not grow near as pretty as it does on these hills, and that's why all the fruit is on the south and east, and that's just where we are. We're just about almost dead south here on the slope on this hill here. This used to be an apple. We had peach up on top of the hill up here. Terrible, extremely difficult. We had prune plums. We had 2 acres of prune plums. Actually, the prune plums were right here where I was standing, and that was one of my jobs on Labor Day as a kid. And sometimes it would be 100 degrees, and that's why I remember it so well. It grew great plums, but it wore out 14-year-old boys. So anyway, I'm pleased to still have this farm along with the other ones. We have a total of 4. 3 of them are the Ag Land Preservation. The one in Cashtown, the home place, is not. since it's got sewer and water, it was not eligible, didn't score high enough. But the ones up here next to the mountains, and actually Michaud State Forest is behind us here. This will always be in agriculture, and it's a beautiful place. It does have problem with deer, as you can see with all those hills. They love to come down in our orchards and eat at night. But we've been able to give them theirs, and we get ours. So grapes is up to new for us. We're right in the middle of apple harvest. We're trying some new varieties of apples at market. Some of these pink fleshed. There was some, well, Honeycrisp. Of course, everyone loves Honeycrisp, but we got plenty of them.
Crimson Crisp.
Crimson Crisp, yes, and that's one of those we're hoping we'd have a huge crop, and we've got a very small crop this year. The trees did not make fruit, and we're going to have to get more of them in the ground. But we always plant with new varieties. It's about like 1 out of 5 that we plant extensively so that we can make it a mainline variety. But we think the market keeps moving ahead to new things. Our customers like something they do not see in the supermarket. And that's why we keep trying some of these new ones, and frankly, they're really good.